Hello everybody and welcome to today's video about my favorite perfumes from my favorite indie perfume house, DSH Perfumes. And in case you missed the video in which I explained why DSH Perfumes is my #1 indie perfume house, definitely check out the description box down below where I will leave all the relevant links to the previous videos in which I featured DSH Perfumes, as well as the link to her official website. Currently I own 10, well actually 11 fragrances from DSH Perfumes, but my dream is to own each and single DSH perfume available on her website, and she has over 200 fragrances, so yeah, wish me luck. And I've already created a video about my DSH Perfumes travel spray, so in case you haven't seen it yet, definitely watch it after this one. And for now, let's just move on to my top 10. And I'm gonna start with one of my most favorite DSH perfumes, one of my all-time favorite fragrances in general. And in case you have been following me for a while, then you know that that fragrance is FOXY. You guessed it right. So this is probably the first proper animalic fragrance that opened an animalic genre for me and made me want to explore it. So I featured FOXY in many of my videos, but in case you haven't seen them yet, I'll sum it up for you. So it is a boozy, ambery animalic scent, and there is an apple whiskey accord in there, which reminds of countryside and farmers for sure, and that is an ideal surrounding for foxes. So as these smart and intelligent creatures, FOXY is a creative and very sexy and even sort of wild scent first, but it gets more sophisticated as it dries down. So I love that there is nothing rough and aggressive about this animalic fragrance. It is very versatile, easy to pull off, and since it is so cozy, I prefer to wear it when it is colder outside. So it is kind of like my favorite autumn winter animalic perfume, also because it is pretty alluring, attractive, and I always get positive attention when I'm wearing FOXY. With that being said, let's move on to BLUEDAISY, and this one wasn't love at first sniff for me. Actually, I didn't like it when I first smelled it, and I don't remember my exact reaction to it, but you can watch my first impressions. The link is going to be down below. So I need to tell you that when I don't fall in love with DSH perfume right away, I'll fall in love with it a little bit later. So what's so special about BLUEDAISY? I'll tell you. Once I tried it in the first moment, it was just a little bit too much, too aggressive for me, too harsh. But then I wore it again and I discovered its magical side. So it smells very fruity. And now forget everything you know about fruity perfumes, because BLUEDAISY takes fruitiness to the next level, and most noticeable notes in here watermelon, yuzu, and grapefruit, and they smell exotically citrusy with this acidic aftertaste. And in the dry down, the fragrance is completed by sweet candy floss and sheer woody musk, and it is one of my favorite summertime perfumes because it smells happy and very adventurous. Now we are moving on to Rendezvous, which is actually the second perfume I tried from DSH Perfumes, and back in 2017 or 16 I had no major experience with animalic scent, so when I first smelled it, it was a big discovery for me and I went nuts about it. So it is one of the most expensive DSH perfumes, and finally I got it. I've been dreaming about it since 2016 or 17, and it was one of my recent purchases, and I'm just so happy that I got it, because you know, this is that sort of addictive animalic fragrance. And for me, Dawn, she's a queen of animalic perfumes. Well, actually she's the queen of everything, but I enjoy her animalic stuff in particular because it is very smooth and very sexy, and this is a super sexy perfume, okay? And I don't want to bother you with notes, it just smells hypnotically sexy. I don't know what else can I tell you about this perfume. It's just super sexy. There is musk, there is ambergris, castoreum, and some sort of harassium that tease, that provoke, that seduce you, and everything is spiced up and heated, and there is some flower power in there going on. But to be honest, this is just the sexiest and most exciting perfume experience ever. And in case you haven't had that, then definitely check out Rendezvous. And we are moving on to GEKKOU HANAMI, which was my first ever DSH perfume that I tried. And actually HANAMI means picnicking below sakura cherry trees in blossom in Japanese. So Dawn has a lot of fragrances that are inspired by Asia and Japan in particular, and I enjoy Asian styled fragrances, so obviously GEKKOU HANAMI is very appealing to me, but it is sort of a different fragrance. It is very avant-garde, unusual, very modern, and what's interesting about it is that it smells very freshly floral, but it's almost like cooling, and this is the flower with a lot of light that comes out of it. It definitely smells of spring, which is my favorite season because it's so hopeful, but it is not spring in Europe. It is spring in far, far east. And there is also a very unique note of sake, which is this Japanese alcohol, and I find it makes it super unisex and kind of relaxed and cool down, and I just enjoy it so much. It is in my top 5 DSH perfumes that I really recommend if you want some very cool and unusual fragrance that is outstanding and so good. And for now, let's move on to Il Marinaio di Capri, which was also one of my recent purchases along with Rendezvous and the next fragrance, and it is a part of Dawn's Flowers for Men series, and she describes it as a mashup of different genres that results in a crisp green honeysuckle shipper with subtle aquatic nuances. And it definitely has Dawn's signature ethereal quality in there going on, because it is sort of a creamy green floral scent with elegant, outstanding, watery neroli, and it is just my universal perfume that I can throw on and wear very casually on the everyday basis. It is very unisex, and oh my god, I just adore how green and creamy it is, because a lot of green perfumes can be just too much, but this one is sort of fresh and crisp, but at the same time very elegant. And also one of my recent purchases is BAKUL MEDJOOL, which is way more special and not as easy to pull off as Il Marinaio di Capri, the previous one. And it is Dawn's boozy scent that interprets the scent of desert caravan in all botanical, exotically sweet, resinous sugar date incensey fragrance. And I had a sample of it and I used to smell on it while reading my favorite book, which is sort of a fantasy story written with a lot of humor. And one day I just told myself I need this perfume because it's a very interesting boozy alcoholic gourmand, and it has this wonderfully alcoholic factor with the quality of relaxation and mystery. So it is my nighttime fantasy and a reminder that everything is possible. With that being said, we are moving on to a very unusual perfume, L'Etoile des Young, which was my blind buy. I didn't know anything about it except that this is a very pricey animalic fragrance, and I was just like, okay, I'll give it a try because Dawn creates really nice animalic perfumes, and I'm happy that I risked because it is like nothing else that I smelled before. I can't really compare to FOXY or Rendezvous, which share some similarities. This fragrance is so unusual, also done in this retro nouveau style that I enjoy so very much, and I'll just tell you that it is about polished rose that lays on the animalic base, and it has this fruity powdery aldehyde start. It is my winter mature animalic fragrance, and every time I wear it, people turn their heads. I really love it. So yeah, with that being said, we are moving on to the Firefly, which was one of my falls in love with DSH right at first sniff, and it is a sheer modern shipper musk with something woody and even maybe mossy in there. And this perfume has some hints of dry, gently sweet smokiness in there too, but musk stays the most dominant note all the time, and it has this interesting nuances of everything I've mentioned that creates sort of like skin scent, and I personally enjoy to wear it when I'm going to bed or when the weather is really rainy. So it is sort of like a moody weather fragrance, very cozy and enjoyable, quite intimate too. So the next one is Afternoon, which is not available anymore. I purchased it when it was on sale, and it is sort of a cosmetic powdery scent, which I can describe as simply feminine. So the next one is Poppy, and this is an exciting one because that is like a Blue Daisy. Wasn't in love at first if I didn't like it, but once I got it, it was a must for me. So I smell some similarities to very popular classic Mitsoko by Guerlain, probably because of that powdery velvety peach covered into oak moss in there, but it also has this lovely fruity floriental hints with the spices and tobacco and some patchouli, and it is probably created for lovers of classic vintage scents with a modern vibe. So I wouldn't say it is a mass appealing perfume. You really need to have a sophisticated taste for fragrances to enjoy it, and Poppy is a spy undercover because when you first smell it, the spiciness is not too obvious, but once the weather is right, and I mean like it's autumn, oh my god, the spiciness shines through, and it's just very, very enjoyable and really like fragrance that puts me in some crazy mood. So with that being said, the final one is TSUKIMI, and here's the story. Once I love a brand, I want everything for myself but also for my loved ones, so I decided to get a perfume from DSH for my mom, and she doesn't really like everything from her, so it took us a while, but once she tried TSUKIMI, we knew we found it. So TSUKIMI is a powdery perfume. It is very creamy, it has Dawn's signature, it is ethereal, but at the same time there is sort of a magical fig sweetness, and it is all layered into magical powder and just like creaminess that is sort of a sandalwood, which is like illusion, and it is not a dry powder. That is something very particular about it. It's sort of like a glowy powder. Oh, it's just like so good and addictive and relaxing and really comforting, and when my mom wears it, I go crazy about this, and I can always tell when she wears TSUKIMI. It is also inspired by Japan or Asia in general, and I really recommend it. It is in my top 5, and if I needed to recommend you only 5, that will be TSUKIMI, Firefly, BAKUL, MEDJOOL, Il Marinaio di Capri, and FOXY. So give them a try, and if you have no experience with the DSH perfumes, definitely give this video a thumbs up in case you learned something new. But if you have some experience with DSH perfumes, let me know what are your favorites and which ones you would recommend me. Don't forget to check out the description box and to watch all the other videos featuring DSH perfumes, and I'm looking forward to purchase more. Yes, I'm crazy. Despite taxes and shipping costs, I will purchase more, and I can also film videos about her heirloom elixir project, which is sort of a limited edition thing. So if you want to see all of that, give this video a thumbs up, leave me comments with your DSH perfume suggestions, and which of described DSH perfumes interests you the most. I'm looking forward to hear from you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I will always answer. And I'm excited about the next video, so stay tuned for it and smell very good. Bye.